Coach, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Coach, what is the big if you look back the turnaround wins, the game back in the second half during the games, what is the most impressive part of your game, your team's game from your perspective?
I made mention of this last night, and it's been amazing that we've talked about this at length over the young season. Is our resolve, our resiliency, and the fact that we don't ever want to get down double digits, certainly in the second half, but the ability to pull together and gut those wins out. Those are character building. We have to learn from some of those things and try to avoid those stretches where we fall into those deficits. But the fact that we're able to climb out, and take a lead late and hold on to a lead is really good for a team that's still trying to figure each other out, come together. And I think those types of wins will help us, as the season continues, and of course late in the season when we're pushing to position ourselves for the playoffs.
And from 1 to 10, how Wes Unseld's team is the Washington Wizards this season so far?
I think we're hovering around a 6.5, 7. We're getting there.
Thank you very much. Keep up.
Thank you.
We'll go over to Josh.
Wes, what stuck out on film when you watched it and studied it afterward?
I think the biggest takeaway rather was our offense, first half or second, where I thought the switches bothered us. Once we had foul trouble with both bigs, Gaff and Trez, we had to downsize a bit. And that's a lineup that hasn't played a ton of minutes together. So just trying to stay organized, versus their switches, it gave us problems. So second half, I thought we did a great job, and of course, late fourth quarter of not staring at the switch, continue to keep energy in the ball, bringing multiple bodies up, slipping out, creating driving angles, and then being shot ready. And that bodes once again to our spacing. We were in the right space, or right spots rather, at the right time. And we were able to deliver and step up, make big plays.
Given how short the preseason was and that the team has only played 16 games, how much more familiarity do you think this roster has to develop with each other and to know basically where it's going, physically on the court, and where players are best suited to receive the ball?
I think some combinations have figured it out sooner than others, but from a team-wide perspective, I think it takes a long time. I think you have those good moments, and we can highlight those things and kind of, preach, hey, this is how we have to be or how we need to look. But, to do it consistently, I think takes a bit of time for a group to stay together and play, get comfortable, understanding, strengths and weaknesses, understand where guys want their shots. It's also an opportunity for me to figure out what can we do to get those guys the looks they desire, get them in the right positions, the right side of the floor. That takes time. So I think for all encompassing, it could be a matter of months, in all honesty.
Thank you.
Ava?
Hey, Wes. Just quickly, Brad last night talked about how you guys are still in a learning process. How much are you working on things that you need to fix, and what percentage, I guess, of new stuff are you folding in at this point?
Well, I think that learning to fix is going to be an ongoing process, because at some point you're going to have slippage in areas that you felt like you had a foothold on, and then there's also areas that we can kind of expound and grow, especially on the defensive end. With our ability to do other things and add other layers, that's going to take a bit of time. It's funny, like that question has come up about, well, how much more? Sometimes more is less, and you get caught up in trying to add. Well, let's get really good at doing, some of the things we have. And I don't think we've been great at that consistently enough. I'd rather, really lock in and get reps with what we have instead of continue to add stuff and just kind of, be average at best in those other areas. So I still think it's, going to take some time for this group to come together. They've shown a great deal of progress in a short time, but we still have a lot of work to do.
And just kind of in general, thinking back to past seasons, where do you feel like this group is physically in terms of their health, their legs, their readiness, just because it's kind of, you're now in like the third season-ish that they've played in the past 16 months or something?
I think it depends on, the team. Obviously some teams played longer, than others, but I think everyone around the league has kind of felt some degree of fatigue with the compressed schedule the last 2 seasons. The protocols we've had to endure. It's not only emotionally, mentally, physically, it's been draining. So I can't say it's unique to us, but I think it's going to be something we have to monitor, just to change up the routine at times, do things a little different, just to kind of keep things fresh, keep guys locked in, and so it doesn't just become Groundhog Day every day. But yeah, it's been tough, and I know it's kind of a barometer is like if I'm tired, I know they're exhausted. So we keep that in mind, and we try to find ways to get guys off their feet, be mindful with how much we're working, but also not to lose days and lose opportunities to continue to grow.
We'll go to Chase.
Hey, Wes. You guys this season are second in isolation defense based on points per possession. And I'm sure, it's a team effort like defense always is, but have any players in particular stood out to you in that regard?
For us, absolutely. I think Pope, Kuz, Denny, even Brad, we've had great, clips of one-on-one defense. To your point, it's not just on that one guy. It's a 5-man coverage. Those guys are tasked often with guarding the most dynamic perimeter player on the floor. So to do that possession after possession is a little unfair to say, hey, good luck, you're on an island. But just having our antenna up, the mindfulness to, get in the right spots, show strengths, show a crowd, make that player's life difficult. Guys are too good in this league to just say, hey, give them space to play. The rules have, shifted a bit, but they're still tilted in the offensive player's favor. So, it's a great, statistic for our guys to realize, what we're doing is working thus far. We have to continue to do it.
And I know Kuz is still making plays defensively and rebounding, but 3 of the last 4 games, he's had some kind of rough shooting nights. Is there anything that you've seen that maybe he needs to adjust moving forward?
Not necessarily. I think I want him to stay aggressive, knock down the shots that, are presented to him. But, I think it's also incumbent upon me, and us to kind of get him going a little bit, trying to find something that works. Last couple games because of injuries, foul trouble, we're asking him to play the 5 as well, which is a spot he hasn't been, playing a lot, and just not knowing the spatial dynamic and the offense in that position has made it a little tougher on him. So all those things. But I think we'll work through it, give him more reps in practice, and when we find ourselves in those situations, he'll be better for it.
Neil.
Hey, Coach, how much did or did not did Rui and or Davis participate?
Both were partial participants in today's practice. We didn't do a ton. Watched a bit of film, did a lot of shooting, but a lot of script, some stuff for his coaches, some concepts, nothing live. So they were able to get through most of it, which was great.
And we'll go back to Josh.
It just, maybe I'm wrong as always, but just by watching it seemed like Daniel had some frustration with some of the fouls that were called on him. What advice do you and your coaches give him to try to defend without fouling, or not to get into early foul trouble, and how's he accepting the advice?
Overall, I think he's been better. I think you look at some of the numbers from last year, and obviously throughout the preseason, I thought that was an issue for him. In general, I think he's playing with a bit more purpose, and some of that's just knowing your personnel, understanding the guy's strengths. What is he trying to get to? How can I take it away? And we've been stressing the physicality, which is great, but behind that has to be proper technique. I think you can get away with it, but if you take yourself out of position or you're late, to your cover spot, oftentimes it's going to lead to foul trouble. So I think overall he's done a better job. But it's not easy. And offensive players are smart. They play the game within the game. And he's just got to be mindful of it and aware of it. Try to keep his hands from over the ball. Use his length late. Use verticality. Stay down on shot fakes. All those things will help him.
Thank you.
All right, Coach, that is it. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.